Hello, Soul Drive. Good evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. Dave Berry here, Soul Drive. Good to see you. I think we're live. Let's double check. Yep, we're live. Hi, Laurie. Good to see you. Thank you very much for coming this evening. Right, everything's okay. Okay, thank you for joining me. I'm going to keep the chat down to a minimum because I've come to realise that reading a book, if somebody's trying to watch the whole thing through, it's not going to make much sense for me chatting for half an hour before each chapter, is it? So I'm going to get straight into this. Took a couple of days off after my birthday. Had a lot to say. It's a lot than other stuff, so not very easy to talk in. So not too bad now. I'm still getting used to talking with it, though, so it might be a little bit lispy. Okay, right there. So we were left off on chapter 5. We're on chapter 6 now, of the Seventh Ray, Revealer of the New Age. And chapter 6 is titled The Seventh Ray Manifesting Through the Individual, the General Traits and Tendencies. Okay, can't see chat a minute. Gotcha, here we go, chapter 6, excellent. Thank you for the confirmation, Laurie. Just you and me to start off with. Okay, so chapter 6, Seventh Ray Manifesting Through the Individual, General Traits and Tendencies. Individualization and the Seventh Ray. The Blessed One sought the pathway into form, but held with firmness to the hand of the magician. He sought to reconcile the pilgrim, who was himself, to life in form. He sought to bring the world of disorder in which he found himself into some kind of order. He wandered far into the deepest depths and became immersed in chaos and disorder. He could not understand, yet still held to the hand of the magician. He sought to bring about that order that his soul craved. He talked with all he met, but his bewilderment increased. To the magician thus he spoke. The ways of the Creator must be good. Behind all that which seems to be must be a plan. Teach me the purpose of it all. How can I work immersed in deepest matter? Tell me the thing that I must do. The magician said, Listen, O worker in the furthest world, to the rhythm of the times. Note the pulsation in the heart of that which is divine. Retire into the silence and attune yourself unto the world. Then venture forth, establish a right rhythm, bring order to the forms of life which must express the plan of Deity. For this Blessed One, release is found in work. He must display his knowledge of the plan by the sounding of those words, which will evoke the builders of the forms and thus create the new. It might be of value if here we surmised in more simple and less occult terms the significance of the above esoteric stanzas to express their true meaning in a few succinct and terse phrases. The stanzas are of no use unless they convey to the ray types among the students of this treatise some useful meaning whereby they can live more truly. The individualized spirit expresses itself through the various ray types in the following manner. Ray 7, black magic or the use of magical power for selfish ends. The power to sit upon the fence till the selfish values emerge. Disorder and chaos through misunderstanding of the plan. The wrong use of speech to bring about chosen objectives. Untruth. Sex magic, the selfish perversion of soul powers, leading to white magic, use of soul powers for spiritual ends, the identification of oneself with reality, right order through right magic, power to cooperate with the whole, understanding of the plan, the magical work of interpretation, and manifestation of divinity. It will not be possible for me to make clear the ray reactions to the final process, which we have considered briefly, namely the stage in the liberation of the spirit, which we call identification. All that is possible, even in the cause of initiation, is to give the elementary stanzas which convey to accepted disciples some of the significance of the first initiation. As regards identification, the reactions of the illumined initiate are made available to his intelligence in symbolic form. But if these forms were described, they would be completely misunderstood. When the third initiation takes place and the wider open door looms before the initiate, he will then discover the meaning of that type of realization, which is here called, for lack of a better name, identification. Hi Chloe, good to see you. Thank you for coming. Hi Truth Seeker, thank you very much for coming. Good to see you. Okay, so identification. Now ray 7. The angle of the presence lifts one hand into the blue of heaven, the angel. He plunges deep the other into the sea of forms. Thus he connects the world of form and formless life. Heaven to earth he brings, earth into heaven. This the man who stands before the angel knows. He grasps the meaning of the painted sign which the angel holds aloft. Then follows a phrase which is incapable of translation into modern language. It signifies that complete merging which the mystic endeavors to express in terms of the marriage in the heavens, and which has been wrongly twisted into the false teaching ancient sex magic. This phrase, expressed by a painted symbol, symbolizes complete unity between the outer and the inner, the objective and the subjective, between the spirit and matter, and between the physical and the essential. The two are one. Naught more remains to grasp. The world is manifest. The work is seen complete. The whole is visioned. The magic work is wrought. Again, the two are one. The plan is served. No word need then be said. These phrases are an attempt to express some of the realizations of the true initiate when he stands at the third initiation before the angel and sees that angel also passes away, so that naught is left but conscious knowledge and realization. Although this statement may signify but little to us at present, it will nevertheless serve to demonstrate the futility of dealing with the secrets of the mysteries and with initiation through the medium of words. When this is better realized, the true work of the Masonic drama will begin to measure up to the need. This section expresses some of the basic emerging truths which will carry meaning, and the senior disciples and the initiates of the world who are battling at this time in the service of the plan. They are present in the world at this time and their work is bearing fruit, but they need at times the incentive of the future achievable glory to aid them to carry on. This treatise is therefore somewhat abstruse and quite symbolical. It may appear difficult to comprehend, and it may mean little to some and nothing at all to others. If the disciples of the world are truly struggling and they are applying practically the teaching given, as far as in them lies, they will find as time elapses, their reason and intuition awaken. That such symbolic and abstruse statements become clearer and clearer, serving to convey the intended teaching. When this happens, the angel of the presence approaches ever closer and lights the disciple on his way. The sense of separateness diminishes until at last light permeates the darkness and the angel dominates the life. Right, that's the end of that section. And just a little brief interlude there, so I'm doing commentary on this as we go in when I feel necessary. That to me is definitely talking about the esoteric side of the teachings I've kind of linked together throughout all the different doctrines, whether it be religious or spiritual or what have you. And when you link them all together, then you get the esoteric behind these things. And then over time, things just seem to slot into place, and they do end up making sense. Whether to the validity of where they came from, things like the Emerald Tablets of both. The more times I've watched those, listened to those, because I prefer to listen to the books, hundreds and hundreds of times now, I gain deeper wisdom from them every time almost that I'm listening to them. So similar sort of thing. When you learn different esoteric teachings, you get more knowledge from different ones. I'm pretty sure that's what's going into there. Right, the egoic ray. Sorry, before I start on the next section, have I missed anybody? Hanyan Amaya, hi, very good to see you. Thank you. Don't think I've seen you before. Thank you for joining me. Welcome. Okay, everybody okay in there? Good to see you all. Right then, so the next section, the egoic ray. The 7 directions of the law of repulse. The effect of this law of repulse, as it works out in the world of discipleship and destroys that which hundreds, sends the pilgrim hurrying back consciously along one of the 7 rays that led to the center. This cannot be handled in detail here. Our present task is that of treating the path of probation or discipleship, and of learning discipline, dispassion, and the other 2 necessities on the way, discrimination and decentralization. It is possible, nevertheless, to indicate the goal and point out the potency of the forces to which we shall be increasingly subject as we pass, as some of us can so pass on to the path of accepted discipleship. This we will do in the form of 7 stanzas, which will give a hint, if one is an aspirant, of the teaching to which one will be exposed. If one has passed further on the way, they will give one a command which, as a disciple with spiritual insight, one will obey, because one is awakened. If one is an initiate, they will invoke the comment, "This I know." The direction of Ray 7. Under an arch between 2 rooms, the 7th magician stood. One room was full of light and life and power, of stillness, which was purpose, and of beauty, which was space. The other room was full of movement, a sound of great activity, a chaos without form, of work which had no true objective. The eyes of the magician were fixed on chaos. He liked it not. His back was towards a room of vital stillness. He knew it not. The arch was tottering overhead. He murmured in despair, "For ages I have stood and sought to solve the problem of this room, to rearrange the chaos so that the beauty might shine forth, and the goal of my desire. I sought to weave these colors into a dream of beauty and to harmonize the many sounds. Achievement lacks, naught but my failure can be seen. And yet I know there is a difference between that which I can see before my eyes and that which I begin to sense behind my back. Excuse me, sorry. What shall I do?" Above the head of the magician, and just behind his back, and yet within the room of ordered beauty, a magnet vast began to oscillate. It caused the revolution of the man within the arch, which tottered to a future fall. The magnet turned him around until he faced the sense of room unseen before. The scene and room unseen before. Then through the center of his heart, the magnet poured its force attractive. The magnet poured its force repulsive. It reduced the chaos until its form no longer could be seen. Some aspects of a beauty unrevealed before emerged, and from the room a light shone forth, and by its power and life forced the magician to move forward into the light and leave the arch of peril. The seventh ray technique of integration. The integration with which we shall primarily deal is that of the personality as integrates into the whole of which it is a part, through service to the race and to the plan. Bear in mind that these ray techniques are imposed by the soul upon the personality after it has seen somewhat integrated into a functioning unity, and is therefore becoming slightly responsive to the soul, the directing intelligence. Old commentary on Ray 7. I seek to bring the two together. The plan is in my hands. How shall I work? Where lay the emphasis? In the far distance stands the one who is. Here at my hand is form, activity, substance, and desire. Can I relate these and fashion thus a form for God? Where shall I send my thought, my power, the word that I can speak? I, at the centre stand, the worker in the field of magic. I know some rules, some magical controls, some words of power, some forces which I can direct. What shall I do? Danger there is. The task that I have undertaken is not easy of accomplishment, yet I love power. I love to see the forms emerge, created by my mind, and do their work, fulfill the plan, and disappear. I can create. The rituals of the template of the Lord are known to me. How shall I work? Love not the work. Let love of God's eternal plan control your life, your mind, your hand, your eye. Work towards the unity of plan and purpose which must find its lasting place on earth. Work with a plan. Focus upon your share in the great work. The word goes forth from soul to form. Stand in the center of the pentagram drawn upon the high place in the east, within the light which ever shines. From that illumined center work, leave not the pentagram. Stand steady in the midst, then draw a line from that which is without and that which is within, and see the plan take form. It is not possible to be more explicit than this. This great and powerful ray is now coming into manifestation, and it brings new energies to man of so potent a nature that the disciples of today must move and work with care. They are literally handling fire. It is the children who are now coming into incarnation who will eventually work more safely and more correctly with these new potencies. There is much, however, to be done in the mainstream, and the disciples upon the seventh ray can ponder on this formula and seek their own interpretation of it. Endeavouring, first of all, to stand in the east, within the protection of the pentagram, as he realizes the task to be carried out and the nature of the work to be done by the seventh ray worker, and appreciates the fact that it is the magical work of producing those forms on earth which will embody the Spirit of God, and in our particular time, this necessitates the building of new forms. Each seventh ray disciple will see himself as a relating agent, as the one who stands in the midst of the building processes, attending to his portion of the task. This, if really grasped and deeply considered, will have the effect of producing alignment. The moment that this alignment is achieved, then let the disciple remember that it will mean a tremendous inflow of power, of energy from both the aligned points from both directions, converging upon him. As he stands in the midway place, ponder deeply upon this truth, for it is in this fact which always evokes a seventh ray crisis. It will be obvious what this crisis is. If the man concerned is materially minded, selfishly ambitious, and unloving, the inpouring energy will stimulate the personality nature, and he will immediately be warring furiously with all that we mean by the instinctual, psychic, intellectual nature. When all these three are stimulated, the disciple is often for a time swung off the center into a maelstrom of magical work of the lower kind, sex magic, and many forms of black magic. He is glamoured by the beauty of his motive and deceived and acquired potency of his personality. If, however, he is warned of the danger and aware of the possibility, he will stand steady at the center within the mystical pentagram and there suffer until the light in the east rises upon his darkness, discovering him still at the midway point. Then comes the revelation of the plan, for this has ever to be the motivating power of the seventh ray disciple. He works on earth upon the outer plane of manifestation with the construction of those forms through which the divine will can express itself. In the field of religion, he works in collaboration with the second and sixth ray disciples. In the field of government, he labors building those forms which will enable the first ray activity to be expressed. In the field of business, he cooperates with third ray energies and the executives of the plan. In the field of science, he aids and assists the fifth ray workers. He is the expression of the builder and the creator, bringing into outer manifestation God's plan. He begins, however, with himself and seeks to bring into expression the plan of his soul in his own setting and worldly situation. Until he can do this, he is unable to stand in the east within the pentagram. It is acutely said that the pentagram is open and a place of danger when the disciple knows not order within his own life. And when the ritual of the soul is not imposed and its rhythm not obeyed, the pentagram is closed when ordered is restored and the ritual of the master is imposed. The writing goes on to say that if disciple enters through the open pentagram, he dies. If he passes over into the closed pentagram, he lives. If he transmutes the pentagram into a ring of fire, he serves the plan. Excuse me a second. Hi to anybody who's just joined me. Who have I missed? Angelfish, good to see you. Thank you for coming. Michelle, hi Michelle, Can Free, great to see you. And Scotty Boy, good to see you. Thank you for coming. Always grateful to see you guys. I've got a little bit of a tickle in my throat at the moment, excuse me. Right then. On the path of return and in connection with the process of detachment, which marks the progress of the soul towards release and the ending of the period of appropriation, certain passages give clearly the intended technique. Ray 7, let the builders cease their work. The temple is completed. Let the soul enter into its heritage, and from the holy place command all work to end. Then in the silence subsequent, let him chant the word, the word. The creative work is over. I, the creator, and naught else remains but me. As I told you, and as I now repeat, the workers on all the rays are organized to take part in one supreme effort, an effort towards which the entire Christian era has been tending and for which it has been a preparation. The seventh and sixth rays are occupied with their work of government and with the task of producing a new synthesis and thus the force of all the workers along those lines in combining with the energy of the first ray, the energies of the aspirants and disciples on the third and fifth rays are turned to the work of expanding the human consciousness, of bringing to light the hidden wonders of the universe, and of hastening the unfoldment of the latent powers in mankind. Those powers, when awakened, will be expressions of many of the present senses and will admit man into that world which lies behind the veil of ignorance and matter. You will note that so strenuous is the work of breaking down national group isolation and separativeness that it takes the united energies of three groups of workers to bring about the desired results. The 7 groups of workers are organized, therefore, as follows. Number 1, in the Department of Politics, that's the 1st, the 6th, and the 7th rays. Number 2, in the Department of Religion, that's the 2nd and 4th rays. Number 3, in the Department of Education, the 3rd and 5th rays. We are taught in the esoteric philosophy that 7 great divine emanations, aeon of spirits, in whom we live and move and have our being, came forth from God at the time of the creation. The same teaching can also be traced in the Holy Bible. Upon one or other of the 7 rays, the souls of all forms of life are to be found, as well as the forms themselves. These 7 rays produce the 7 major psychological types. These 7 rays, or emanations, are 1. The first ray of will or power. Many great world rulers are found in this ray, such as Julius Caesar. 2. The second ray of love, wisdom. The Christ and the Buddha are to be found on this ray, and it is the great teaching ray. 3. The third ray of active intelligence. The mass of intelligent humanity are found on this ray. 4. The fourth ray of harmony through conflict aspirants. Struggling, well-meaning people, workers for unity emerge along this line. 5. The fifth ray of concrete knowledge, or scientists and people who are purely mental and governed by the mind. Number 6. The 7th ray of devotion, or idealism. Many Christian people, fanatics, numbers of earnest churchmen of all the world religions. Number 7. The 7th ray of ceremonial order, or magic. Masons, financiers, great businessmen, and organizers of all kinds. Executives are found within these energies in their equipment. The 7th ray of ceremonial order, or magic. Special virtues. Strength, perseverance, courage, courtesy, extreme care in details, self-reliance. Vices of ray: formalism, bigotry, pride, narrowness, superficial judgments, self-opinion, overindulged. Virtues to be acquired: realization of unity, wide-mindedness, tolerance, humility, gentleness, and love. This is the ceremonial ray, the ray which makes a man delight in all things done decently and in order, and according to rule and precedent. It is the ray of the high priest and the court chamberlain, and of the soldier who is a born genius in organization, of the ideal commissary general who will dress and feed the troops in the best possible way. It is the ray of the perfect nurse for the sick, careful in the smallest details, through sometimes too much, inclined to disregard the patient's idiosyncrasies and to try to grind them into the iron mill of routine. It is the ray of form of the perfect sculptor who sees the produces ideal beauty, of the designer of beautiful forms and patterns of any sort. But such a man would not be successful as a printer, as a painter, unless his influencing ray with a fourth. The combination of 4 with 7 would make the very highest type of artist form, and colour both being an excelsis. The literary work of the seventh ray man would be remarkable for his ultra-polished style, and such a writer would think far more of the manner than the matter in his work, but would always be fluent both in writing and speech. The seventh ray man will often be sectarian. He will delight in fixed ceremonials and observations, in great processions and shows, in reviews of troops and warships, in genealogical trees, and in rules of proceedings. The bad type of seventh ray man is superstitious, and such a man will take deep interest in omens, in dreams, in all occult practices, and in spiritualistic phenomena. The good type of the ray is absolutely determined to do the right thing and say the right word at the right moment, hence great social success. In healing, the seventh ray man would rely on extreme exactness in carrying out orthodox treatment of disease. On him, the practice of yoga would have no physical bad results. He would approach the path through the observance of rules of practice and of ritual, and can easily evoke and control the elemental forces. Ray 7. This ray provides at this time an active and necessary grouping of disciples who are eager to aid the plan. Their work lies naturally on the physical plane. They can organize and evoke ideal which will embody as much of the idea of God as the period of humanity can evidence and produce in form upon the earth. Their work is potent and necessary and calls for much skill in action. This is a ray that is coming into power. None of these ray participants in the hierarchical crusade today can really work without each other, and no group can carry on alone. The difference between the methods of the old age and that of the new can be seen expressed in the idea of leadership by one and leadership by a group. It is in the difference between the imposition of an individual response to an ideal upon his fellowmen and the reaction of a group or to an idea. Producing group idealism and focalizing it into a definite form, carrying forward the emergence of the idea without the dominance of any one individual. This is the major task today of the seventh ray disciple, and to this end he must bend every energy. He must speak those words of power which are a group word and embodied the group aspiration in an organized movement, which, it will be noted, is quite distinct from an organization. A striking instance of the use of such a word of power being enunciated by a group has lately been given the great invocation, which has been used with marked effect. It should continue to be used, for it is the inaugurating mantram of the incoming seventh ray. This is the first time such a mantram has been brought to the attention of humanity. All these rays work together for the carrying out of a specific group idea of 7 masters who, through their picked and chosen servers, are actively participating in the work which is the initiatory work of the seventh ray. It is also linked upon the incoming Aquarian influence. The throat center of the average integrated personality is governed by the third ray and is strongly energized by third ray energies. Again, 7 in number. Whilst the throat center of the spiritual aspirant of disciples and initiates below the third initiation is responding primarily to seventh ray influences, And this is peculiarly the cause now, as the seventh ray is in incarnation. The rays which are manifesting at any particular time affect powerfully all the other centers as well as the one through which they are normally expressing. This is the potent, oft forgotten. Sorry, this is a point often forgotten. The seventh ray person is faced with the difficulty of being able to create exceedingly clear-cut thought forms, and the glamorous, therefore, which control him are precise and definite, and to him all compelling. They rapidly crystallize, however, and die their own death. Seventh ray glamours. Excuse me. The glamour of magic. The glamour of magical work. The glamour of the relation of the opposites. The glamour of the subterranean powers. The glamour of that which brings together. The glamour of the physical body. The glamour of the mysterious and the secret. The glamour of sex magic. And the glamour of emerging manifested forces. Okay, we've got to start a new section now. Hi, David Castle. Great to see you. Thank you very much for joining me. Very grateful to be in here. Hey, Brian. Good to see you. Grandpa Brian 420. Thank you for coming. Good to see you. Hope you're all having a good day, evening, morning, whatever you're having. Hi, Steve. Slightly slanted sleuth. I'm live, I know. I had to take a couple of days off. I had a bad tooth. I fell out yesterday, so I'm going for it again. Right. Hope you're all enjoying it. It's a bit heavy, but I hope you're enjoying it. Just going to do to the end of chapter 6 today. Still got a fair ways to go, okay? Yeah, still got a good couple of pages left, okay, guys? So we chat amongst yourselves, we shall carry on, okay? It's the start of another section now. This is the instructions to individual members of the Tibetan's seed group. Sounds like a nice light topic. Take a quick sip. Nice fresh water. Okay, instructions to individual members of the Tibetan's seed group. Discipleship in the New Age volumes 1 and 2 contain 2 series of talks by the Tibetan to some members of his inner group, and also a series of personal instructions given to him to a group of his disciples. The conflict in a disciple's life is found to lie in the fact that the ray of the soul and the ray of the integrated personality are posed against each other. At the same time, the emotional nature, mental equipment, and physical brain are also controlled by someone or other of the rays, and in this fivefold relationship lies hid much of the problem of the evolving human being. The Tibetan tells the members of his group which 5 rays condition them, and students will learn much by a study of what he says. That's written by the editors, apparently. Your soul ray is the 7th, which would enable you to work with facility in the new world which is emerging into manifestation with such rapidity. It will aid you also in producing order and rhythm in your environment. In these days of turmoil and difficulty, every rhythm center is of value to us. You have an interesting combination of ray energies, with the ray of order permitting of the physical establishment of a relationship between soul and form, strongly controlling you. This dominant energy should render your outer work effective upon the physical plane. If you'll remember that esoterically the form nature is the vital etheric body, and this automatically and easily conditions the physical organized vehicle. When your work is not effective, brother of mine, what is the reason? Note that this seventh ray potency is concentrated in your personality, and when your second ray soul energy sweeps into prominence, the initial effect is often to negate the activity of the personality. This is often forgotten and is most confusing to the neophyte in its earlier manifestations. Later, the disciple learns from experiment and experience that all the rays are sub-rays of the great second ray. This you know theoretically, but this is different from the wisdom which comes from understanding as the result of action. Once this fact is grasped, you can begin to use all the forces in your equipment as the implements of loving service. Here lies your major technical lesson. Your line of least resistance is that of establishing relationship with the end in view of building a form. This is also the line of purpose, magic, and as you know, it can either black or white. There are two modes of creative work. One mode is that which is implemented by the seventh ray potency. This builds and creates within matter and within the periphery of the three worlds. It is exceedingly forceful when it is wielded through the medium of a seventh ray personality and a seventh ray physical body, as is the cause with you. The other mode is that of the second ray, which is applied from without the three worlds and from soul levels. It works through radiation, magnetic appeal, and coherent energy. Ponder on these two modes. Through your ray energies, you are in position to use both methods under the inspiration of the ashram. The results should be most effective service and the steady growth of any work you may undertake for me, for the ashram. You would find it useful to make a study of the relation of the second ray to the seventh, for there is a close creative reaction or impulsive interplay between the two, and one which you need to employ consciously. It is known to you that your major rays are the second and seventh. The latter gives to you, if you can but understand it, and choose to use it rightly, the power to take the light which is in you and in the pupil and apply it to the enlightening of physical plane living. For the seventh ray is the ray controlling spirit, matter, and relationships. This seventh ray personality enables you to work actively in many ways upon the physical plane, bringing together the subjective reality and the outer form. I wonder whether you have sufficiently realized that for you to bring through the love of your soul is the line of least resistance. Owing to the fact that your personality ray is the seventh ray, the ray consummation, the ray of expressing adequately on the physical plane, the form through which the soul, whose nature is love, can express itself. This is particularly easy also in your case, because the ray of your physical body is also the seventh ray. The line of descent, therefore, from the form-building energy is direct. To this again you can add the fact that your personality vehicles are on the fifth and sixth, and the seventh rays. These follow each other in sequential order, producing again a direct channel. You should consequently, if you are truly to understand the mechanism through which a soul has to function, make a much closer study of the seventh ray. It is also the incoming ray for the next immediate cycle. A knowledge of the ray influences, techniques, mechanisms, and objectives will be ascertained by disciples in whom these rays are pronouncedly manifesting. In reference to the work of fusion at which you must arrive in connection with your bodily forces, your soul energy, I would call your attention to the fact that your soul energy is focused in your physical equipment, thus bringing together the energy of your soul and the forces of your seventh ray brain. There is consequently a direct alignment between soul and brain, and this must be deepened, understood, and utilized. I suggest that you take until next May before coming to your final decision. I have asked a member of another group in my ashram to do your work in the meantime. Excuse me. I am therefore assigning you no work, and you are regarded as temporarily suspended from the group. I ask naught of you but that you can reconsider your decision from the angle of group good and group progress, and from that of your group brothers, and not solely from the angle of what seems best for you yourself, and your own comfort, and your own so-called freedom. Infer not from this that I regard your decision as a selfish one. I know what it has cost you. It is nevertheless based on feeling, and feeling is seldom a true indication of right action. I seek only to give you the time to think. I would remind you, as you seek decision, that your soul is on the seventh ray, and that you are working through a first-rate personality. Hence, my brother, your problem. A mystic of wide consciousness, with a powerful personality ray, with a soul vibration in line with the new age, seeking to impose upon the personality the rhythm of a ceremonial order and organization. I would ask you to bear in mind that group work involves sacrifice, and often doing of that which might not be preferred, and which might not, from the personality angle, be the easier way out and the easier activity. The choice, however, rests with you, and the thoughts of the group must be kept away from your decision, so that you can make it freely and unhampered. The group must then aid by your decision. You're a second ray soul, and you have a seventh ray personality. Your seventh ray personality enables you to work actively in many ways upon the physical plane, bringing together the subjective reality and the outer form. Your feeling that there is in you indication of a fifth ray activity is due to the fact that it was your personality ray in your last life, and is for you the line of least resistance, therefore. Excuse me. If you can grasp clearly the implications of what I now seek to tell you, you will make real progress. I shall leave you to find out for yourself what the implications are. You're at a point in your development where, unless you emerge into a more mental type of realization, you will crystallize into a high-grade astral magician and arrest your own true development for this life. 3 things I would like to point out to you in this connection. 1. You spend the greater part of your subjective life upon the astral plane. 2. You endeavor, largely unconsciously, to work as an astral magician works, using words to bring life and form together. You do not use the word. 3. The work you do is done on an astral level, and not from soul levels to that of the word of power, which the soul would use, is stepped down to the many words the astral magician finds necessary. Your emphasis is now upon the form and not upon the spirit aspect. This is due to 2 things. First, the fact that your personality ray is the 7th, and you have likewise a 7th ray brain. Secondly, you brought this tendency over from a previous life. Your task has been to transcend it all and free yourself from all magical work of every kind until you are established in soul consciousness. But at present, you love this type of thing and believe that all you contact is a reality. As long as this is the case, your soul life is blocked at astral levels. Another difficulty growing out of this is the fact that because of this astral impasse, Your soul is focused in the astral body. You can get no further into expression. Therefore, on the physical plane, on account of the glamour which surrounds you, your personality energy is focused in the mental body. This brings the influence of the magical seventh ray to bear upon your mind, so you are caught by the glamour in two directions. Your brain, being also an expression of seventh ray force, facilitates this work of magic. Until, my brother, you are polarized in the soul, you are playing with fire, and the magical work of the astral plane is full of danger for you. Even your intense interest in masonry is for this life unwise, for the Masonic work is magical work, being a reflection of the processes of intention whereby the power of the spirit and the power of substance are brought together through the magical work of the soul. Quick sip a sec. Right. Your whole problem is tied up with your 7 qualities, for you are on the second ray, where your soul is concerned, whilst you function through a first ray personality. You have, however, a strong 7th ray development, because that was the ray upon which your personality was found in your last incarnation. Hence, your capacity to organize, which is of the 7th ray, and the ease with which you handle detail, which is a 2nd ray characteristic. The 7th ray is a ray of a dual activity, because through its means, the energy of the soul and of the personality can be brought consciously into realization and into relation, and this more easily than on the other rays. Once the disciple is freed from glamour, thus there can be built a true expression of the life content from the angel angle of a long soul experience. This may sound to you somewhat ambiguous, but the statement is by no means as vague as it appears. It should provide you with ideas for reflection. The healing ray, above all others, is the 2nd ray. There are 2 major healing rays among the 7. They are the 2nd and the 7th. The success of all healing enterprise, therefore, depends upon the ability of the group members to work at will and on demand under influence of their souls. If you'll study your rays, my brother, you will note that you are eminently equipped to heal, for you have 2 streams of 2nd ray energy flowing through you, and also 2 streams of 7th ray energy. This makes for a power and healing. The 7th ray in your personality and physical body gives you the desire to use your hands, and it determines your life work, because your hands are the agents of the magician, and you are most definitely upon the path of the white magician. As you have already guided, your physical body is on the 7th ray, hence your Masonic opportunity and your ability to organize and rule. I would remind you all that when the statement is made that the physical body is upon the 7th ray, it means that the atoms of the brain in particular are colored and motivated by 7th ray energy. So it is with all the rays upon which a physical vehicle may be found. This provides a definite opportunity to those so constituted at this time in connection with the 7th ray, as it is coming into influence so rapidly. At the same time, it provides a problem, the unending problem of the balancing of forces, which is the major task of the initiate, or of those in training for initiation. Your physical body is on the 7th ray of ceremonial order or magic, and hence your interest in spiritualism for one thing, and hence also your choice of a life profession for another. Hence also the facility with which you could establish and hold a steady contact between the soul, mind, brain. Your physical body is upon the seventh ray, and this makes for integration and for efficiency. Your physical body is upon the seventh ray, and this will be easily apparent to you, accounting as it does for your interest in music, ritual, psychoanalysis. The goal of all these three methods of expression is to bring together and relate harmoniously the soul and the form, which is the major task of the seventh ray upon the seventh or physical plane. Your physical body is on the seventh ray, which gives you a sense of the relationship between spirit and matter, between soul and body, and enables you, if so you will, to be a constructive agent in magical work. The physical body is of the seventh ray type, but it is so controlled by your fourth ray personality that in a most peculiar sense it has little life of its own. It is negative to an amazing extent, and this again constitutes a definite problem. Your physical body is upon the seventh ray. This should give you a facial expression of your personality purpose upon the physical plane. Your personality force is focused in your seventh ray brain. This gives you the power to plan, to organize, and also the power to give form to ideas. Ponder also on this. Your physical body is on the seventh ray of ceremonial order or magic. Here is to be found the source of much of your ill health. The seventh plane is the plane upon which spirit must express itself. It is the receptacle of spiritual energy. Your physical vehicle and medium of expression is of such a sensitive and refined nature and so frail a receptacle that your life problem is so handled wisely. The spiritual energy which seeks to pour through. This constitutes a very real problem which you have faced for years and must continue to face. If you will study your ray combinations, you will note that you have only one of your ray energies along the line of the first ray. That is the ray of the seventh ray type of energy. All your other rays are related to the great second ray of love wisdom. This necessarily constitutes a problem until you remember that the seventh ray is the ray of interlude. An interlude and a ray which becomes active when the active magnetic work of the building ray is ready to precipitate into the phenomenal world and bring about, under the law of ritual and divine ceremonial, new phases of work. These are initiated in the silence of the process of abstraction, released when the interlude of tension has completed its work, and became effective when the interlude of recognition has made a new focusing possible. I am pleased that you are following along the line of your second ray energy and are occupied with seventh ray activity. That means that, inspired by the sense of unity which is inherent to the soul, you are working on the physical plane, the point of expression for the seventh ray, and bringing spirit and matter together. Remember always that this ray, which is again coming into cycle manifestation, is the one that relates to the new incoming spiritual energy and the substance of matter aspect which will respond to it, unless it and eventually get my eyes getting tired now. Utilize it and eventually give it due form, knowing therefore clearly what it is you are attempting to do. Oh, that was the end of chapter 6. Did that fast? How are we doing? Almost bang on an hour. Perfect. Okay. Well, that was the end of chapter 6. I know it's a very heavy read, guys. It's quite heavy to keep up with. It's quite heavy to read, to be honest. But it is worth it. Trust me, there are gems in there. And there's a lot of Masonic talk. I'm not a Mason, okay? But that's just a generalization. Okay, so the next chapter we will have, when I can keep my eyes open long enough to do a live show, is chapter 7, Esoteric Healing and the 7th Ray. Okay, so hopefully tomorrow, but I'm not making any promises. I'll see you then, okay guys? Not sure what time. Probably be in the evening again, like today. How are we all doing in there? Thank you all so much for coming and joining me live. I know it's a bit short notice, so I do appreciate you all turning up. Just don't want to leave out anybody out. Thank you very much, guys. Right, okay, I'm going to sign off now, guys, okay? I hope you enjoyed that. And like I say, I will be back very soon with chapter 7, okay? Everybody have a great day, evening, wherever you've got left. And I'll see you soon, okay? So be the frequency you want to see in the world. I love you all very, very much. Don't forget about Discord. The link will be in the description below if you want to join. I'm pretty sure everybody here at the moment is already members, but anybody watching later on, feel free to join my Discord server. There's lots of good chats going on in there. Yeah, so thank you very much for joining me. I'll see you soon. Love you all. Bye-bye.